One. Hey, everybody. It is Wayne with Ugly Mug Marketing. And today I have one of our very own as a guest here with me. I've got Hannah Acosta. Hannah is our social media manager. Hannah, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for interviewing me. This is kind of fun, having your boss interview you.
It's a little different as well. Unlike most of the other of these that I've done, you are not sitting awkwardly in another room recording this interview. You're actually several states away. So where are you at today?
I am in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'm at the Transfer Hall co-working space.
Fancy title. We've got the brick wall looks very similar to the one in our office just a few doors over from here.
I know, that's why I chose this background. I'm like, maybe I'll trick people and they'll think I'm in Alexandria.
Snuck in town. So I'm going to come back and ask you, like, why are you in North Carolina and what are you doing there? But first, what exactly is a social media manager? What do you do here?
I know. I actually get that question a lot, mostly from my family members. They're like, oh, you probably know how to do this. You play on Facebook all day. And I'm like, oh, okay. I feel like that's rude. I don't play on Facebook all day, but what I do as a social media manager for Ugly Mug is I help small businesses, or businesses, honestly, of all shapes and sizes, and I help them create social media strategies that are actually going to help them produce results. So whether that's helping them get more real estate clients, or that's helping them get more foot in the door, or more butts and seats into their restaurant, or people shopping online through their store, whatever their specific goals are, my job is to create a strategy aimed at getting them results. If we're not doing that, then I'm not doing my job.
Yeah, it is. It's super interesting that, when people think about social media, they do think about kind of, I don't know what the word is, but they take what they do on social media and they assume that it's what we must do on social media, which is, they sit with their thumb on their phone and scroll and like and comment on stuff. It's very different though. Like you just described, it's very different to actually take these platforms and be able to get results from them. What would you say is one of the most challenging or the most challenging part of what you do on a daily basis?
I think that the most challenging thing about my job is probably, I guess for me on the back side of things, we have almost 30 different clients. And so all of those different clients are in completely different industries. And so my job when I'm stepping in and kicking off with them is to learn everything that I possibly can about their industry. So I could be working on a strategy for Wildwood Pizza, and then I have to hop into a client that's like a surgical specialist or something like that. And so I think switching gears and finding different ways to be creative in industries that maybe aren't so exciting. Like we have a client who's a lawyer and they do bankruptcy law. And, that doesn't really sound as fun as, making beautiful cupcake ads for little cakes. So, that can be sometimes really challenging for me, is being creative and kind of switching gears and developing new content that people are actually going to want to look at, and basically creating things that are going to make people stop scrolling, like you were talking about earlier, mindlessly scrolling on your with your thumb on your cell phone. So yeah, that's probably the most challenging part.
So the challenging part is jumping from industry to industry and making this stuff engaging. What would you say is the most rewarding or the thing you enjoyed the most in a day-to-day basis?
Oh my gosh. So Lydia, on our team, she and I always talk about how rewarding lead generation ads are. And when we actually can see people filling out the form on Facebook and getting added to someone's email list, or we're sending that lead to our client. We have a client who's like Southern Air, heating and cooling. And so I get a new lead for them, and seeing that lead actually turn into a paying customer for them, that is the ultimate, most rewarding thing. And then running click to call ads too, and actually seeing the tracking number ring. That's really rewarding.
Yeah, that's awesome. A little bit different than just scrolling and playing on Facebook all day.
For sure.
So how long have you been at Ugly Mug now?
On January 6th, I will be at Ugly Mug for 3 years, which feels crazy.
And in those 3 years, what would you say maybe you've learned the most? Like, what's the thing that you think you've grown the most in? What area do you think you've grown the most in that time period?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Um, I think that, at other jobs that I've had, there's really been kind of like a lack of, I don't want to say a lack of accountability, but I wasn't working in an organization where I had like really specific goals. And so stepping into Ugly Mug Marketing and having, I think when I started, we just had like OKRs, and then we moved to all these other different goal formats. And so actually being held accountable, and having a goal and really sticking to it and doing everything in your power to like work towards that goal. I feel like I've never really been in a space where there's been such a focus on that. And so I feel like I've really like grown in that area and had to really use a lot of grit to work through those challenges, and really use a lot of like critical thinking skills too. I feel like in my previous experiences, it was kind of like I always knew what to do and I kind of felt comfortable. And I feel like being at Ugly Mug has really pushed me out of my comfort zone and challenged me to think in new and different ways, because we have so many different clients that are in different industries. So yeah, I would say that's been the areas. Did I answer your question? Those are the areas that I've grown the most in.
You gave multiple answers to that, which is fine. One thing you mentioned or you talked about was kind of the accountability aspect of it. And yep. I'm just curious, because when people hear that, in a lot of ways that can come across as a negative. And you may mean it as a negative. I'm not trying to imply that there isn't some negative aspect to it. But on the one hand, that can seem like it's like a lot of micromanagement and, a lot of like top down, like looking over your shoulder type thing. How would you explain that side of it? So like the micromanaging side, for lack of a better term, do you feel, and you can answer honestly, it's not gonna hurt my feelings. Do you feel that you're micromanaged? Do you feel like you have freedom? Like, how do you balance the accountability with that other side of it?
Yeah, so I think, well, first of all, I don't feel micromanaged whatsoever. I feel like I have a lot of freedom within those goals and within those expectations, and mostly because when we're setting our goals, it's ultimately up to me as the person, as the head of the department, to figure out what those goals are going to be. Of course, sometimes you step in and you say, I think that goal needs to be a little higher monetary wise, or I think you need to shoot for a little higher of a goal. And to which I say, okay, and then I change the goal. But for the most part, I feel like there's a lot of freedom in setting those goals, and there's a lot of freedom in setting those, those lead metrics and determining, I am the one making the commitment and saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do this week in order to, help get me closer to accomplishing that goal. It's not like you're telling me, or Hannah Broom is telling me, or anyone else on the team is telling me to do that. I'm making that decision for myself. And of course, during our team meetings at Ugly Mug, we always give each other feedback, for those of you tuning in. And so it's good to have that feedback and to be challenged, but I never feel like, I'm being micromanaged. I just feel like I'm stating to the team, this is my commitment to this goal. This is my commitment to you as the company and as the team. And then they can kind of push back on me a little bit during team meeting, or if the following week I didn't accomplish my goal and they're like, why didn't you accomplish your goal? And just being able to have reason behind that too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that answer. And if you've said you felt like you're micromanaged, I would certainly want you to say that and want to make adjustments based on that. One thing, and I'm gonna circle all the way back to the beginning, is you're in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. So in terms of micromanagement and freedom, I don't see you on a day-to-day basis. And I would say that we probably emailed maybe every day, maybe not though, I don't know. Why are you there? How did you end up there, et cetera?
Yeah, so I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, because my fiance got a job here. He was previously in the Army, and we were stationed in Fort Polk, Louisiana. So I had the fun drive along Highway 28 every single day, from Leesville into Alexandria. And so I started there 3 years ago, and I moved from Michigan at the time to Louisiana. And then we left Louisiana, moved back to Michigan for a period of time. And now we're in North Carolina with his new job with Cumulo, which is a tech storage data file company. And that's all about it. All I know about it. But we're here now. And honestly, it's really been a blast. He and I are both super adventuresome, and it was challenging moving and leaving Louisiana, and it felt really sad, but I'm grateful that I get to come back once a month and hang out and be in person with the team then.
Yeah. And so where, like, originally you weren't from Louisiana, not from this area. Where are you from originally?
Well, actually, I was born in Arkansas, which I feel like a lot of people don't know that about me. But I was born in Arkansas. I lived there until I was like 7. And then we moved to Michigan for my dad's job. Spent the majority of my school years and college in Michigan, specifically in Grand Rapids, West Michigan area. And yeah, that's pretty much where I grew up. Living by the lake, going to the beach every single day. Everyone's like, when they picture a lake, I feel like if they've never been to Lake Michigan, I don't know what they're picturing, like maybe being able to see to the other side. But I'm like, and then like our friends and family would visit us from like Arkansas and Louisiana, and they're like, oh, like this looks like an ocean.
Yeah, it's not the same as Kincaid Lake or Coatesville Lake around here.
No.
What would you say as you look back kind of over your time here? What would you say, like, growth wise, from looking at Ugly Mug as a whole? So when you came, I don't remember who all was even here at the time. How has Ugly Mug changed over the 3-year period?
Well, we've changed a lot. My initial reaction is just thinking about the amount of clients that we had when I first started versus to the amount of clients that we have now. I feel like, we do have some clients that they've been with us for a long time. One of the clients that I first signed on my own, for the most part, Glaston, et cetera, they're still with us today. And so it's really fun actually for me to look back and kind of like see how my relationship, even with those clients, has changed. Like I remember going into Glaston, like shaking and like, I don't know anything about window tint or like vehicle accessories or like, and now I'm like, oh yeah, CM truck beds. And oh, I know like what a Tommy gate is and like all these things. And I was just like laughing. I had that photo shoot with them when I was recently in town. And I'm like just walking around. Oh, hey, Mike. Hey, Chase. Hey, oh yeah, Chase, next time, can you text me pictures like this? Like we're all just like best friends.
Yeah. And for anybody watching, if you need help tinting your windows, call Hannah. She knows how to say it. Just kidding.
Okay, let's not take it that far.
Just kidding. When it comes, let's talk specifically about Facebook and Instagram. So what changes have you seen over the 3-year period with Facebook, specifically with using Facebook as a marketing tool? And then the same question with Instagram.
Yeah. So Facebook, I mean, I was just telling one of my clients this morning during a meeting. I'm like, there's a new Facebook update every single day. Like I literally get an email every single day, or I notice that the interface looks different or that they've removed a feature. I mean, things have been changing so rapidly. When I first started at Ugly Mug, I remember Wayne kind of teaching me how to create ads, and it wasn't even called Ads Manager there. It was called Power Editor. So Power Editor is like dead and gone. Like if you just started running Facebook ads yesterday, you have no idea what Power Editor is. And though it looks similar to Ads Manager, I mean, that in and of itself was like a huge adjustment. I remember I just felt like I like got a grasp on Power Editor. And then they're like, just kidding, Power Editor is no more. It's Ads Manager. And we're like shutting it off tomorrow. And you must transfer out all your ads. And so even like, okay, so that's an interface change, but even like the tools that are available to you have changed too. Facebook Shops wasn't a thing when I, first started with Ugly Mug. You used to be able to target people based on their household income. You can't do that anymore because remember Mark Zuckerberg went to Congress and everyone was freaking out and Facebook isn't going to be a thing anymore. And here they are still thriving. We're still depending on them for, as a marketing tool for small businesses. But yeah, the landscape of it has completely changed. And the same exact thing is true for Instagram. And in fact, we see this like dramatic shift of people who are spending time on those platforms too. Before it used to be more of a younger crowd on Facebook. And now you see that the most booming age demographics are people who are between the ages of like 40 and, 55, and mostly females. It's older, people who are later in their careers, or, people like me who were on the platform earlier when it first started, and we just still have the account to keep track with high school friends or our family. And then there's Instagram, which is, more of our 15, 16-year-old to 25-year-old demographic. And that's where they're spending their time. And there's pros and cons to both platforms in marketing. It just really depends on who you're trying to reach. Is it more of that older demographic, or are you trying to get in with the young kids? Or if you're really cool and hip, then maybe you need to be on TikTok. And I don't know anything about TikTok, so don't reach out to us and ask us about TikTok.
That's a 2021 project.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
What would you say when you think about just business owners, marketers in general? What would you say are some of one or two or several mistakes that you think they make when it comes to marketing their businesses on social media?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is first just falling for the boost post button. Don't do it. We tell our clients that all the time, just because there's so many different and better features in Ads Manager, more objectives for you to be able to choose from, more detailed targeting opportunities, better ways to manage and spend your money too when you're using Ads Manager versus Boost Post. So that's the number one mistake. When we're sitting down with people, they're like, "Oh, I've run ads," and then I ask to look at them, and it's hard to see that direct correlation between a boosted post and money and growth in your business. And so I think that's one of the big mistakes that I oftentimes see. The second thing is, I think that, as a small business owner, and Wayne, you can probably relate to this at some point over the last, 10 plus years of being the owner of Ugly Mug Marketing, is like, you get stuck in thinking why you think your business is important, or why you think that somebody should purchase your product or use your services or whatever it may be. And so you're writing your messaging and you're creating ads from that point of view. But in reality, you need to be thinking about it from the customer point of view, or whoever it is in your target audience. What problems and challenges are they facing, and how can you and your business help them, and how can you solve that problem for them? So you can't think of it from, "Oh, I think you should choose Ugly Mug Marketing because we do this, this, and this." It's okay. Well, as a small business owner, like, you're probably struggling in COVID-19. You're probably looking for more affordable ways to market your business. You might be struggling in X, Y, and Z. Here are answers that we as Ugly Mug Marketing might have for you. And that's true for us, but that's true for literally any small business.
You're right. It's hard to remove those blinders because we're so jaded by what we see every day that we think we know what resonates. And the reality is we lose sight of that. I don't know if I've shared this with you, but a great analogy or a great example I read about this recently was that when it comes to marketing, that you should be able to actually write a page from your ideal client's journal. So like, you were to flip to a new page in their journal, and you know them so well that you could literally write the next page in their journal for them. And so for me, that just like mentally helped me kind of picture it. Like, I really need to understand their pains, their frustration, what keeps them up at night, like what's the anxiety that they're dealing with. So I just thought it was a great analogy. Keep in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
As we kind of wrap up, got two very important questions for you. First one, what are a few things that maybe people watching, maybe your clients, don't know about you?
Ooh. I think one thing that they probably don't know about me is, we were talking about this before too, is my favorite coffee drink is a Cafe Miel. And anytime I can find a place that actually has one, I get really excited, and I probably will just keep going there and going there repeatedly. It's like steamed milk, espresso, coffee. It's got honey in it, and a little cinnamon on top, and it's like delightful. And the best place for a Cafe Miel is Madcap Coffee in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You literally, like, you can't beat it. I've had them elsewhere too, but you can't beat Madcap. So shout out Madcap.
So you go in other coffee spots and ask for that, and they look at you like you're crazy?
Yes. So actually, I did ask for one time, because I'm like, like, they look like they might know what they're talking about over here. Like, maybe they just don't have it on the menu. And I asked them, and they're like, "Huh?" And I'm like, never mind. I'll have a vanilla latte. Another thing that people might not know about me is that I played soccer for, I think, almost 17 years. I played soccer all growing up, year round. Played rec soccer, played club soccer, went into indoor season, went into the school season, went to camp. I played defensive mid in the 3-5-2 formation. Um,
Wow.
and yeah, that was fun. I probably could have played like maybe D3 NAIA in college, but I think at that point I was just really burnt out from many, many years of soccer. And then my parents thought they were done with all that traveling. And then my brother came along and played travel baseball. And they got to travel even further than I made them travel. So sure, that's fun for them. Let's see here. Another thing that they might not know about me. Well, I kind of said it earlier. Oh, I know one. When I was 5, 6, I was crowned the crawfish queen in Deshay County in Dumas, Arkansas. So I was probably in the paper. You can probably find it in the archives. I still have my trophy. It was a beauty pageant, and my mom dressed me in a pink floral dress, and I don't know, I was the winner.
What, you were the crawfish queen? Is that what you
The
said?
crawfish queen, yes.
Wow. We're going to have to put that on your business cards.
I know. I'm gonna go put it on my LinkedIn right now.
Who would have thought? All right. The final trivia question for the day is, besides all of us at Ugly Mug, what do you miss most about Central Louisiana?
Oh, I really miss a lot of things about Central Louisiana, honestly. I really do. So actually, Wesley just signed up to be in a reserve unit here, active duty reserve unit. So we just couldn't get away from the military. And I really do miss that. Like, we made some really great friends and met some of the, like, literally our best, closest, lifelong friends during our time in Central Louisiana through the Army. But I'm really missing our church lately too. We were super active at our church, Christian Worship Center, who's also an Ugly Mug client. We designed their website. We really miss that community so much. And we're hoping to get plugged into a church here in Raleigh, but everywhere is still doing virtual. And so we're like, well, if we're going to watch church online, I guess we'll keep watching Christian Worship Center. So shout out to pastors Aaron and Aaron Cody. That is like one of the other things we miss a lot. And seriously, really miss crawfish in general. And Pamela's Bayou in a bowl. Wayne hates it every time I go into town because I'm like, let's go to Pamela's Bayou in a bowl.
Yeah, well, they do have good food. It's just you need a nap afterwards. That's
yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Hannah, for taking time out of your day. I know you've got like 400 different clients to go work on stuff for. So, and I guess we'll see you in a few more weeks when you come back in.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Wayne. This was super fun. And yeah, I'll see you soon.
Bye. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye.